This is live. This is live.
Relax.
It's gonna be crazy.
No, I'm being serious this one.
Serious is important.
All right.
Wow. We finally did it.
We're finally here.
The wait is over.
Wow. Just amazing, right? I'm going to introduce, how about we take a turn and introduce each other? I'll introduce somebody, and then you introduce the other person.
No.
And then, we'll do, I think
I'm
we should
out.
do.
I'm out.
Ooh.
So you introduce yourself?
No, we want the host to introduce.
Okay, I'll introduce them. So we'll go with, I'm just a humble servant of God.
Thank you so much. It's very nice to hear you put us like that.
All seriousness, we're just thankful that you're here. Jake Brown is here from Kansas City. If you didn't know, he's a Chiefs fan. And I'm surprised you're not wearing the referee shirt, too, because that's part of your squad.
Yeah. That's how we're starting this episode,
Why you
right?
you see the games too? Like everyone else in America focuses in on our team and not their team?
That's in my team. The Chiefs is my team.
That-
I've told you that for the past 3 years.
That's crazy. 3 years?
3 years.
Try 37.
Well, I
I
was
was
blind.
with us when we were 2-14. I'm with us when we're whatever we are now.
I was blind.
But now you see
Nah,
Bartimaeus.
that's right. And on my left, we have the executive producer extraordinaire, my friend, Jithin Jacob.
It's nice to be here. It's my first time at the spot. So
New spot, yeah.
undisclosed. Is it disclosed or undisclosed location?
I think people will know where we are.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, we're here at, what's this called again? Studio Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Studio
really
theater.
clean. Clean
Yeah.
little spot, boy.
You like it?
I really do like it. I do.
It means that. It means a lot. You know, we came here. This is the door one of the first doors we knocked.
Yeah.
We didn't
you
come
and
here
I.
together. Remember,
Oh, the
we didn't
second
come
time.
here. Yeah, we came
No,
here.
no. To sign the contract that came with you.
Yes, you did.
But I didn't come when you first came.
Yep. So, but this wasn't done. This is like brand new.
This was during COVID.
Yep.
They weren't ready for you.
Do what?
They weren't ready for you.
Literally, they weren't ready.
I honestly think that they built this place just for us. Honestly, and I'm being really serious right now. When we went to East Side Slip, you were with me. I was intimidated by the size of it, because 3 times the size of this.
Yeah.
But then this opportunity came, and here we are.
Amen.
Yeah,
Made just for you.
it's amazing for the church, the Anchor Church, not for me. I don't need a place. You
So
know?
humble.
I really don't.
You are the man.
Just, you know. So here's a couple of things. I want to thank you for making time. I know you guys are very busy. You took time from your families to be with us. We're trying something new.
They might be thanking you.
It's true. It's true.
Have you met our kids?
Beautiful children. We had a beautiful time this morning. I'm just upset that you left early when the action started.
Gotta go. You gotta go. You know.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things. I just want to tell you, I want to thankful for your friendship, both of you, and thank you for your time. So here's a couple of things I want to ask you. What is the funniest story do you remember about me or about Jithin or about Jake that we can share? And this is off the top. We didn't plan this, and I'm doing this on purpose. So what's one of the funniest stories you can share? I could tell you my funny story about Jake.
Go ahead, because I'm empty right now.
So
The clip is empty.
listen, wow. So feel me. Okay, so
Unreal.
so one of our pastors told me, why doesn't he wear a belt? So I remember I was like, well, he's just. It's not everybody likes to wear belts, and there was certain, I guess, protocols. And I remember saying, yeah, well, maybe he doesn't have a belt. And I remember him telling me, no, I gave him a belt. And he told me I don't wear belts. So every time I would see you on stage, I would look at, because you were tucked in, I would see, no belt, man, this guy is a rebel of a cause. So, which is funny because one time I got not yelled at, but reprimanded because my shoes didn't have laces. So I had like these boat shoes, those boat shoes. So those didn't come with laces. And I remember he gave me a pair of laces, and I was like, "What am I gonna do with these?" He's like, "You're gonna use them for your shoes." I was like, oh, "Okay." So I never wore those shoes ever again. But it was just hilarious. And so when he told me, he's like, he doesn't wear any belts. I was like, So I kept that inside for a while. I don't know if I ever told you that. I think I brought it to you at one point, and I don't know what your response. What was your response?
Do you remember that same year what you got for Christmas from me?
No.
Brand new belt. It wasn't really from me. It was from that said pastor. But, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what kind of food you have to eat. It's just...
That's funny.
It is what it is.
Funny story. I think if you asked me like immediately, it's also a Jake story.
Let's go. Why not? It's easy.
When his oldest son,
young man, strong young man,
handsome young man.
He's good looking, but he's always been good looking.
Yeah.
His whole life, God has really blessed him.
Fair and fair.
When he was younger, he used to. We used to hang out late. Applebee's was a very common place we would go.
Shout out to Applebee's.
Go to eat. Not sponsored, not yet.
Yeah.
They're still around.
But there was a time where we were coming out the restaurant and your youngest Israel was asleep, and so we Jake put him on his knee and pretend he was like a ventriloquist puppet.
I remember that. You were knocked out.
He was so knocked out.
Out of there.
And it was probably I could still picture the night. I could tell you the shirt he was wearing. I think it was after a hoop challenge or something.
Probably.
Like that.
Unreal.
I could close my eyes and picture that exact moment.
I
think it was
remember
so
now.
funny.
I thought he was actually faking it.
Yeah. It was just a great moment. Us as a dad.
I'm actually still pretty good at it.
I
wish you could find that picture. That was.
We might have to add it somewhere. Maybe
That's so good.
Post production. We can add it at the end of the clip.
So good.
Yeah, a great friend of mine from Long Island. He's a pastor. He's a clown on the side. He actually taught me how to do that. That and balloon animals. Can't reveal his name. Secret. Keep it. I keep his name in my. I can't tell you who it is, but he taught me how to do that ventriloquist act, bro. It's great. It's great, man.
We're gonna have to mute a couple more. Listen, we're gonna have to mute.
I didn't reveal his name.
The production team on this podcast is gonna have a lot of work.
A lot of bleeping happening.
I didn't reveal his name.
Was that your funny story?
There it is. Because I have the older I get, most people get wise. I just lose memory. So there was a lot of funny things that happened.
Oh, I think the other funny thing that another Jake story.
Wow.
Is
this is three.
I wasn't even there though. I heard about.
I'm potentially getting bullied right now.
This is.
But I think it was you, Bart, and Christian.
Shout
out to Bunky and Rumi.
Friends of Jake's when he went to college. There was a time where they used to play. You guys kind of did a version of Impractical Jokers, right?
Oh yeah.
Where you had like a Bluetooth headset, and you guys were at a mall or something, and you were telling each other what to do.
That's a funny story. Why don't you share that story?
It was actually for Rumi's birthday, and his dad had a Bluetooth. Shout out to Kevin, and we went to Sunrise Mall, and it was short lasted. Only it was very short lasted. I think after the very first prank, I think Christian went up to a pleasantly plump lady, and I think he ended up getting cussed out. So we exited rather quick, Shout
out to Sunrise. I don't even think the mall's even open anymore.
Is it still alive?
I don't think
Unalive.
so.
Shout out to Rumi doing God's work though. That's my man's.
Both of them.
And Bunky.
That's right. Both of them.
That's it.
I remember that story. But when you say Bluetooth, is that like a headset that they had on? Would you have like walkie-talkies?
Little earpiece.
So what? So you would put how does it work? You put the earpiece like.
Yeah, and then we would make the phone call. You know, we would use somebody's phone. The earpiece was attached to their phone. We'd call them, and we're talking to them in their ear while they're doing the prank to the.
Oh,
Odessa.
so this is like, were they watching from far away?
Yeah. So they're like a block or so away inside the mall, give or take. And we say, oh, that's the one that we're going to get. And he sees it. Have you seen Impractical Jokers?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Yeah. A lot of TBN over here, you know.
Such a man of God, bro. Follow you as you follow Christ. Like, what a man.
Wow, get this man a mic.
That's it.
Wow, That's
it.
This is your true talent.
That's.
Deonza has kept you back for so long.
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but now that you mentioned it, you know, the problem is that when you're great at everything, it's not fair to anyone else. And so.
So humble.
You know, I mean, you know.
I don't know.
You took me on 2014. You took me under your wing. And I've just, you know.
It's been amazing watching both of you. Because I remember the first time I met Jithin that I truly remember was we were at a New Year's Eve party.
Really?
Yeah, we're New Year's Eve party at Hector's house, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, either Hector's house, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
And that's when I really I think we were playing dominoes or cards. I don't remember what we were playing. Spades, maybe it was a spades. I don't remember. But I do remember that was one of the first times I really met and talked to you. And that was also with Pastor Josh. I think Pastor Josh was there as well at that time. That was the pastor before you, actually.
That's right.
So that's how long. What year? So we're talking about over 10 years easily. How long you been married?
2015. 10 years this year.
Yeah. So over 10 years. So that must have been easily. So I met you 2 years before I met Jake. Easy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Easy. Yeah. So there's one of the things I've noticed in our conversations that we have through text. I think that most of it is based around faith, family, and fatherhood. So that's what we're and football. You can say football.
Yeah.
You know. So there's one of the things that I've noticed. We're all in different stages. You just started fatherhood.
Just brand new.
So why don't you give us a little update on your?
So at this point, he's about a little under a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that's been a crazy whirlwind. Just seeing God working through us, as a married couple, and then just you see things different when you have a kid, understanding God's love or why, all the sacrifices and all the things that you want to impart in them, wisdom and knowledge that you want to do just because you just want to see the best in them. And so how much more your Heavenly Father wants to do that for you. So that's been real eye-opening for me. It's really just changed my whole world in this last year and a half. And so I'm super grateful. I'd have, I guess a different perspective maybe than most people, in the sense that I work from home.
Yep.
So I do spend, a lot of times I would say, you could say in maybe in the last 10 or 15 years, most fathers are, out the door early in the morning, come back late in the afternoon, and only get a handful of hours with their children, before they go to sleep. I have the fortunate opportunity to be with my son, pretty much I've been with him almost every day of his life. And so just being able to be around him, learn him, grow with him as he's going through these, new stages every month. I feel like he's changes and goes through it, learning something new or going through different growth development has just been so fun to watch him do, and excited for when he's able to get a little bit more coordinated, be able to shoot a basketball or play the piano or, be able to teach him some things.
Yeah. Enjoy that stage, because I feel like they need you so much. and you feel so needy, and then they grow up, and you feel like, oh, I'm not needed anymore, and you're in a different stage. You know, you have a older teen, right? Once you go over their ages, and
15. I got Israel's 15. Zion is 4, and Judah is 2.
so your experience is way different.
Very true. Very true. It's Jithin nailed it. He talked about how with the godly perspective and God's love for us, and God loved Cain as much as he loved Abel. And so as much as Israel's my favorite, I've got to love Jacob and Esau. I'm wrestling. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I'm wrestling with them.
Is that why your hip is
Absolutely.
it's a little
My
out
hip
of
is
look? You
it's
see
out
how
of
we did
place.
that?
It's out of place.
Is that a place?
Getting replaced. No, serious though. It is, but also because of the gap, Israel being 15 and Zion being 4, there was 11 years where, now we're jumping into back to babies and toddlers, and it's almost redoing it over again. So I'm still learning as well. One of the hardest things, honestly, if I'm being honest, one of the hardest things is balancing time with all of them.
Yeah.
You have Israel, who's old enough to go play basketball with me. You have Zion, who is attached to my hip, but he doesn't like loud sounds. And so when we go to a basketball gym, he's got to wear headphones, or he just doesn't want to go. And then you have Judah, who is a tank. He's an absolute tank, but he's mama's boy. And so balancing out spending time with all of them it's kind of rough, but we manage.
Today I was telling Ruthie that we were able to see your nieces, your nephew as well, their personalities. So it was great. I'm telling you right now, it was great because I saw your son in action, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, he had to take a nap.
So he had
to get out of there.
which was great. And then then I'm asking big guy over there, Israel. I was like, how do you feel about all these kids? He's like, I don't want no kids. I don't want to have any kids. I had enough with this. Like he's raising them.
Absolutely.
So
Zion and Judah are his Planned Parenthood. 1,000%. 1,000%. Don't let Jithin lie. The reason why Noah had to go to bed is you got to be mindful of who influences him. So the surrounding ones around him,
No, if that boy doesn't take a nap, he's a wild child. He might have thrown a chair like.
Listen, it was great to see everybody's personalities. Because listen, I'm in a different stage where I wish my kids were still young.
Yeah.
Where I wish one of the hardest things that I had, I can't say it's hard, but I think it's more a struggle that I had is Jalen going away to college. And it wasn't like, CBC or, a Christian school.
Yeah.
It's a state school. And honest to God, I would get up in the middle of the night and just pray and intercede, because we live in a different world today.
Yeah.
Especially while he was away in college, I believe there was like three college shootings. Remember that guy who showed up and stabbed people?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you,
Georgia Tech or something?
something crazy. Yeah. So that alone was reason enough to honest to God, I would pray and intercede. To this day, I still do. And my niece is also NYU. And then you had this crazy things that are happening. So fatherhood has changed because the climax of life, the environment has changed. It's craziness. So I'm in a different stage when I'm looking at my son. He's 22 years old. And I was like, I got married when I was 22 years old.
Crazy. That's wild.
And I don't see my son getting married. No time soon.
Yeah.
No time soon. So then I have that. He's home. So happy about it. But now Rachel is about to be 18 in 10 days.
Wow.
Senior in high school.
Which is crazy. So I always kid around with Ruthie, but I wish I had another child, because I feel like. Because what happened was my other life, when I used to be a barber, I was on the weekends and the evenings, I was away. So hearing you say I've been with my son every minute, of his life, I didn't have that. And I'm pretty sure if we go around speaking about how fatherhood has impacted us. See, I was away from my parents for about 5 years when they came here to the United States, and they left, El Salvador because of the violence. There was a civil war, so I had to grow up with my aunt and my older cousins. So I was away from my father. So now that they're back in El Salvador, I miss them. Like I think about, what are they doing? I want to call them. What do they eat? Like, I'm like, what did they eat today? Where did they go today? Like, I'm their parent.
Yeah.
So we're all in 3 different areas of fatherhood. And I just think it's amazing that in every area that I haven't been where you've been, but I've noticed that, and you said it, how our Heavenly Father loves us. And honest to God, you were playing around, but God loved Jacob and Esau. And I know that you were joking, but it's the truth. He loved both of them. And was the decisions that they made as children, we already know the story, but still, it's still love.
Yeah.
So the other concept that puts us together, we have fatherhood, but we also have, what was the other F we said?
Food, fellowship.
Yeah, let's talk about food.
Fervent prayer.
That's right.
Philippians.
There's Philippians. There's so many, but the other one is family. We all come from a different type of background, family. If you guys want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. My parents. So my dad immigrated here from India in the 80s. Started actually with my grandfather. He was a pastor in India, and had an opportunity to actually go to CBC.
Your grandfather went to CBC?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was. That's how he got his student visa through CBC, and that's how our family eventually, all of us started. Not my parents didn't go to Bible school, but my grandfather started there, got his citizenship, his student visa, got citizenship after graduation, and then was able to sponsor my dad, who was able to sponsor my mom and my other aunts and uncles and stuff like that. So yeah, I am, I guess, essentially first generation.
Because your parents weren't born here.
No, my parents were both born in India, and then when they got married in, I want to say 86, they came here, and then I was born in 89. So I'm first generation, and so that was always interesting, especially where we lived, being on Long Island, and I've been on Long Island my whole life, but we were in a very affluent area.
Oh, sure.
My dad worked very hard. He worked 2 jobs in order to provide for us to be in that area. But it was also very hard to fit in, right? When you have kids who are wearing department store clothes, and I'm coming off clothes from the clearance section, or Steve and Barry's, if that's really dating me. If you guys know that store, shout out to them.
Yes, sir. Starberries.
Yeah. Yeah, Starberries and Shacks, while everyone was rocking Jordans and stuff like that in school. I'm doing okay now. I only got 1 pair though.
Okay.
Somebody else. Somebody else. That could be a whole episode on its own.
Fits.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another F. Go ahead. Yeah.
But still, just going through that phase and that stage in life, and now being kind of going back to it, right? Being a dad now, and just now realizing how much of a sacrifice my parents had made just for my sister and I to have such a good life and good opportunities. Yeah.
So, how long you been married now?
5 years.
Really? 5?
Yeah, it was 2019. So I'll be 6 in September of this year, but currently 5 and change.
Wow. I thought it was longer for some reason. I thought it was like 7.
Yeah, it was 2019. So.
Wow. How about you, Mr. Jake Brown?
Yeah. So shout out to Stephen Barry's. Man, they came through. And Payless, British Knights, LA Gears.
LA Gears were, listen, LA Gears were
I tried to bring it back, but it didn't.
LA Gears were it.
It didn't light up.
I used Payless, but
yeah, see, that was there. Yeah, so in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds, where I spent most of my days. Nope. I was Kansas City. I was raised by my mom. My dad, she kept him away as much as possible. He was really big into selling drugs and all of that stuff. Then he went to prison and then stayed away until he was unalive. But my ma, she grinded. She grinded. And I again, going with what Jithin said is so accurate. When you get older and you become a parent, and these kids don't realize how much it costs to live, like just to even to provide for them. It's I go back and I think to myself, like, how in the world did my mom did it? Thank God we have myself and Deonza to provide together. But
Yeah.
I think, how in the world did she do it? She constantly worked. She worked my entire life. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I have 2 brothers by the same dad, different mom. And then my mom also, she let the kids in the neighborhood, our house was always like an open house for them.
Yeah.
But I remember this. Deon's always, she jokes about it, but I remember we would literally have 2 bags of ramen noodles to split between all of us for dinner, but there was still food on the table. Like,
it's amazing.
Even though it was just that, we still, like, she always fed for us, or she always provided food for us. Not as much as like Gary DeRosa says when he says his story about when they would eat pork chops and he'd go to bed and he'd come out and look in the kitchen and his mom's eating the bone. We were almost there, but man, shout out to my mom. She's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find single parents,
Yeah.
single moms, just to be amazing.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the single moms, single dads, that made it, and they're here today. But in my case, like I told you, I was separated from my parents. But one of the things that always kept us together to this day has been our faith in God, and really that's really the glue. And I just want to, from your point of view and from your experiences, what is the role that faith has played, and not only in being a father, but also, or maybe we could switch it from either way, from being a father, family man, how does that influence your life today?
Yeah, I think for me it's just been a grounding point, right? Because in the world that we live in, and even you've spoken on it, a lot of times our feelings, right, can fluctuate day to day. Today I could be feeling great, something can happen, and tomorrow I can feel terrible. The next day I could get a raise, and then a week from now I could get laid off, right? And so there's these constant ebbs and flows that are happening in life, just when you go through different phases, but also in the world that we live in. But Christ has stayed the same.
That's good. You said crisis or Christ?
Christ.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah,
okay.
Christ.
I was like, that's
No.
okay.
No. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Christ has always stayed the same.
Yeah.
And our foundation has always stayed the same. And so I've even seen that in our own family. We've had circumstances where we weren't sure what was going to happen. 2020 was a crazy time for myself and my wife because she was in Canada. I was here in New York. We were separated because of some immigration things that were supposed to be worked out, but got delayed, due to just the state of our country.
Yeah.
And then with a pandemic on top of that, it just even made things worse. And so my wife, who's a nurse, is battling and trying her best to keep people on her floor essentially alive in such a terrible state. And
so this was in Canada?
Yeah, in 2020 when this happened. We get married September 2019. She goes back because we're waiting on paperwork to get cleared for her green card. So in 2020, the pandemic happens. So she's stuck in Canada. I'm here, and we can't see each other for over 9 months.
Yeah.
And so, you know, at that time, we now looking back at it, it was 9 months. But when we were in that situation, we had no idea when the ending of this thing was going to be, and both of us working in high stress situations. You know, both myself being in the hospital system in New York City, where COVID was rampant. Just
Crazy times.
Between what we're dealing with at work and at life, and then also dealing with our personal life, like.
You were in Manhattan at that time, right?
Yeah, I was working right in the city, in Mount Sinai, and so it was like, God, where are you in this? Are you hearing us?
Yeah.
Are you listening to our prayers?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We need direction, and we need to hear from you. And I think after a while of just praying and interceding, He gave us a peace and just understanding that, hey, listen, although the world may be going in different ways, I'm still the same.
Yeah.
And that's carried us now, from 2020 now to as we're entering into 2025, that every situation that we've gone through after that, right? Whether it was purchasing our home or, trying for our first kid and things like that. And as we've gone through different trials and tribulations, God's been consistent. And we've tried to just really anchor onto that. So that's
Anchor, shout out the Anchor.
To go back to your original question, like our faith has just been our anchor, right? Even when myself and Sophia, have a disagreement.
Yeah.
What keeps us together is our foundation and our anchor in Christ. Like whether we might be upset with each other tonight, but understanding that, hey, listen, Christ is the one who brought us together. We got to figure this out. So,
I think that's amazing. I've watched your journey, and it's amazing to see how you will go into the city, and knowing the pandemic alone, that could be another episode. But you've persisted, and your family and where you are today, it's just incredible. How about you? How do you feel about Jake? How do you feel about family and faith? What role has faith played in your family?
I think faith has gotten, it has gotten me. I know that faith has gotten me to the point where every day I say, if God doesn't do another thing for me, He's done enough. If God doesn't do it, I'm okay, because He's already done enough. The evidence of God is so real that it's, it makes me wonder how people can't, how they can't have faith or trust in God. Faith has played a tremendous role in my life, from God literally saving me from death to bringing Zion, who is a crazy miracle story, to life, to all of the other things. And I think, one thing that always gets me is sometimes I think that there's this misconception that people have about people who are saved, or pastors in particular. They think that we're exempt from pain or we're exempt from struggle, but it's not real. Like we go through it just as much as anyone else. There have been countless times in the past 10, 15 years that I've been saved. There have been countless times where Deonce and I will be sitting at the house, and we hear a door shut, and we look out the window to make sure it's not our gas getting turned off. Like to make sure that it's not our water getting shut off. There's been countless times, and we have faith in God because we know that God is a generous God.
Yeah.
It's impossible to outgive God. He's a generous God, and so our faith in Him, and it increases every day just by what He does.
Yeah, that's so good. Because when you analyze the things that you said, I think you got to elaborate on that, because you have a funny side about you and sarcastic side about you, and they both mix, and it's very rare when you get a serious side out of you. And when you start speaking there and start sharing, you need to elaborate on that, because I think, what most people don't know is that you are one of the most, and I would say it playing around, but I really do mean it. You're one of the most effective, and I would say pound for pound, the best youth pastor I know. And I know that you don't receive it. Listen, I know that you don't, but from what I've seen, and I have a lot of friends who are youth pastors. There's a connection about you, and there is I want to say, I don't want to say charisma, because charisma, but there is an anointing over you that works with your calling, and also with what you've been. And I've noticed that with my children. For instance, when I tell my children, hey, we're gonna, when other pastors came around, other youth leaders came around, that's not my youth leader. Mm-hmm. That's straight up, that's not my youth pastor is in Kansas City. To this day, they said that, that you are my children's pastor. And, when you analyze what pastors have done, like, I'm here today because my youth pastor poured into my life and went to my school.
Yeah.
Called my principal, wrote letters to summer school so I wouldn't be, get left back.
Yeah.
So I would go to the youth camp, stuff like that. And I've seen that with you. I not only with my children, but I've seen it with other children. But you're still not exempt from pain. So can you elaborate on that? Because you were just talking about pain, and I know that you're going through stuff right now. We watch. Listen, we watch and we analyze.
Yeah, we listen and we don't judge.
No, we just watch and analyze.
Yeah,
because you are an effective pastor, youth pastor, and
I appreciate that. But for the thousands watching, the millions in attendance,
super humble.
The funny business that he was talking about, it's not Diddy. It's a different kind of funny, like haha. It's not. I just want to point that out.
Gotta clear it up.
It's 2025. You gotta clear it out.
Diddy and it's not R. Kelly.
Yeah, it's not. So, addressing the
can we come back to the original question?
Let's come back to it. So, what really, I'll get to the pain part in a second. But what really gets me is when I was in high school, I didn't go to church. I wasn't into that. There was a pastor, David Godbout. He was a youth pastor at the church that I'm currently at. He was a youth pastor, and he would come to the schools, and they'd put on this crazy assembly, and people would be dancing and rapping and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of it, he would say, "Hey man, we're having a pizza party.
Yeah.
And it's free pizza. Come check us out. If you live in this area, a bus will be on this corner." And so they would bring like 10, 15 bus loads of kids in.
Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we would get there, and I would go, and I was just there for the pizza. But what I didn't realize is that I don't necessarily remember sermons that he preached.
Yeah.
Man, but I remember the seeds that he planted.
Yeah.
I remember the physical, him coming out, and I remember him showing love and all of that. And then moving on, later on, he moved on, and another youth pastor came in. And this youth pastor, who I still talk to today, Pastor Dennis Luce, he would come during the summertime. He would pick us up and take us to lunch, just so we weren't on the street fighting, just so we weren't on the street doing things that we weren't. And so we didn't realize it. We thought he just wanted to hang out with us and take us to eat, but he was doing it just so that we weren't. And so all that to say, I feel like when God called me into youth ministry, one of the main reasons was so the kids didn't go down the path that I did.
Yeah.
And anything that I could do to get kids not to do that. It's funny that you mentioned the kids saying that I'm still their youth pastor. There's actually other kids in New York who don't go to church at all anymore.
Yeah.
but they still text me happy birthday. They still say happy new year. They still, during October, who don't know anything about church, but they know October is pastor's appreciation, who
It's
reach out
amazing.
to me. And it's like, it's just, it makes everything worth it. It makes the struggle and the pain. For us, kind of in the scene, sense of faith. A lot of people don't know, but Deon's and I, we had tried to, well, not we, because I can't get pregnant, but Deon's she had tried for 3 years to get pregnant.
Yeah.
It just wasn't happening. She was going to doctor after doctor, and they were telling her, like, it's impossible for you to get pregnant. It is. There's no way. Certain things that it just wasn't happening. And so she was taking shots, and we were like praying on IVF and all of that. And so she took these shots for 3 years. And I remember one day we were at our house in Kansas City, and she had one shot left, and she came up, and she comes in, she's crying because she had, taken a pregnancy test, and it came back negative again. And she's like, I'm so tired, I'm drained. She's bawling, crying. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's not meant to be, and come to find out her other thoughts were like, God doesn't see me, God doesn't hear me.
Wow.
And
So good.
as a husband, I'm breaking down.
Yeah.
Like this, this isn't fair to her.
Yeah.
And so she said, I have one shot left, but I'm not going to take it. Like, I'm done. And I said, look, Deons, if let's just put the little bit of faith that we have left, let's just put it into this one shot. And if it doesn't happen, then it's just not meant to be. And so we it was, I guess the problem was we weren't praying over the shots. Because we prayed over the shot, and about a month and a half later, she woke me up with like 5 pregnancy tests.
Wow.
That were all positive. And we sat in this room upstairs crying for like
Phenomenal.
10 minutes together. And so there were years of pain and moments of doubt. Like, God, do you not see us? Do you not hear from us? Which was weird, because there were so many. God works in so many crazy ways, because even if he doesn't answer the prayer that you're asking, he's giving you blessings and answers to other prayers that you haven't even prayed.
That's so good.
Showing himself and revealing himself to us through that. And so it was almost like the perfect balance. Like, God, we're putting everything into this. And later on after that happened, Deons and I, we went back and we looked, and we looked at the amount of blessings that God gave us during that season of
waiting.
what we thought was defeat. Like, it was, David and Goliath. Think about it. David killed a bear. He killed a lion. David sat out there with his sheep for years.
Yeah.
Not knowing that he's preparing for what God had for him.
So good.
So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, that's powerful. I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a different type of waiting. You want to add to that, or can you follow up after that, bro?
That, man. I mean, I can just concur with, because I'm very close with Deonza as well. I knew Deonza obviously before Jake, because Deonza grew up on Long Island. So seeing her as my sister, just, being in that pain for these years, and then, I just remember, I think Deonza told me the day after our wedding. I think we were on our way to our honeymoon. Deonza texted me like, hey, by the way, so happy for you, just want to let you know we're pregnant. And I told her that was like the greatest wedding gift, just to see my sister, who had been struggling for so long, to go through that and then be able to not only have one, but now you got 2 after that.
Yeah.
So.
Why stop at 2? I mean 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. I took that one of those 5 pregnancy tests that she came up, smacked the doctor that said she'd never get pregnant, smacked him with it. Look at there. Joke's on you, fool. I didn't say that. I'm just playing.
Okay. Well,
we are done. We are done. We're done.
Officially.
Yeah. 3's
How about
enough
you?
for me.
Listen, if the Lord blesses us with one more, we'll take it. But I think we'll stop at one more. This guy likes to play zone defense.
Zone?
Where
Can you explain how that? Zone?
Because
it's not man to man?
because he's got 3, so they're playing
All right,
zone.
all
so,
right, Diddy.
so we're
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
we're playing man to man at our house, so we're trying to keep it at 2. But if the Lord
done.
changes things, it gets more expensive. The
Yeah.
flights.
Yeah,
That's in the seat, then extending to the row.
yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, listen.
Let's see let's see what the Lord does in 2025.
Yeah.
/ 2026.
Are you hoping for a girl or a boy? If
So our
you
first
shoot your shot.
our first one.
Listen, you said shot like 10 times. I just want to let you know. And all I kept thinking was, if you only had one shot. Dun, dun,
You're
dun,
trying to-
dun,
I'm
dun,
not.
dun,
I'm not.
dun,
Listen,
dun,
we're
dun,
gonna get cut
dun,
off
dun,
YouTube.
dun, dun,
No, I'm not. No.
dun, dun, dun. Okay.
Our first one.
Knees weak, arms are heavy. Just comment on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti.
So easy.
He's
That's
nervous.
it.
All right, I'm out.
Now we can't
That's
make
it.
any. Now we can't monetize
Flesh,
this.
bro. Anyway, go ahead.
In the flesh.
Our first one, we 100% thought it was a girl. Everyone told us it was going to be a girl. And
Did
things
Ruthie
like
tell you
that.
it was a girl?
I think so.
False prophet.
I did
Unreal.
not say that.
Unreal.
And so
Unreal.
Kidding.
when we did our gender reveal and it was a boy, we were
Easy.
ecstatic. So yeah, I think a girl would be nice. Just to change it up. Because he has boys, right? So
3 healthy boys.
3 healthy boys that love to
Throw
Squabble.
vacuums and
squabble,
beat up their cousins.
love to throw bows.
Yeah, throw them bows.
So,
Flesh, bro. You got me in the flesh.
so just to maybe see another dynamic with a girl, but man, I don't know how you do it. You have a almost 18-year-old. Maybe we should flip this on him.
Yeah.
So how is this, being a dad of an almost 18-year-old and, navigating fatherhood and faith with a high schooler, with a daughter, with the world is with an athlete, right? Because you can see,
Multi-sport athlete.
amen. Just how difficult even that athletic space is, right? When it comes to faith and then the other issues that come with female athletes or female sports, with gender identity and things like that. Like how did you navigate that space in the conversations you had with your daughter, and if she had a teammate that was feeling a certain way, and how should she react or respond, or how do you even navigate? I think, because I'll tell you personally, I think that's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful to have you, and I can lean on you guys and ask your advice and things like that on how you navigate it with your children. But yeah, would love to hear your perspective on how did you even talk about that stuff, and what advice do you have for to have that type of conversation?
Well, one of the things with Rachel, it's different with Rachel because we have lunch together every day. She has, I think, maybe a couple more weeks, and then her 3rd semester starts in school, and so we've been having lunch every day, because we sit in the lobby, and she came up to me at the beginning of the school year, and she goes, "I think I could sit with you, because I have lunch in the lobby," and I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I said, "Why don't you go to lunch?" She goes, "Oh, I already had lunch." I'm like, "Why don't you go to lunch again?" Because I will go to lunch. And I remember one of the things she said to me. She's like, "Because I already talked to my friends." I'm like, "So make new friends." That's just me. "So make new friends." She goes, "I don't trust those people." So
Sounds like Rachel.
So it's funny because I didn't realize who she like that side of her, because she's always been my baby. And if I had a real hard time making that separation, and we've had it out.
Yeah.
Because she's got to remind me I'm not your baby.
Yeah.
And then I got to remind her she's not my mother. So girls are different. Jalen was more laid back. Jalen was more like, stop doing that. Stop. stop, that type of deal. With her, it's more like, but why?
Yeah.
But why? So anyways, so sitting down with her, having lunch with her every day at school, like the security guards know that's my daughter, principal know, like everybody knows that's my daughter now. And I remember having a conversation with her and saying, but why don't you just make new friends? And she's like, I don't trust those people. And then she was like, don't you know I only have a very few friends? I'm like, you do? And I realized that she has chosen who's going to be part of her circle, and she has been able to cut people. Like there's people, teammates. I'm like, that's your friend. Said that's not my friend. I'm like, you guys played softball together. We're just teammates. We're not friends. So one of those things I've noticed, and when Jalen was 4, maybe 3 to 4, I realized I made a conscious decision at that age that I was going to let go of all my friends and just focus on my son. And whoever stuck around was truly my friend. And because I don't have to explain myself why I'm not going out, I'm not doing this. And I made that conscious decision when he was that young, that I was going to spend that time to be with my son, to be with my daughter, to be with my wife, because Rachel wasn't around. So when I hear you say, I spend every minute, that's a luxury, because my father didn't have that luxury. And so I think in today's world, number one is having a conversation, having a relationship, having a conversation. There's things that me and her disagree on. And then we realize why we disagree so much, because she's my father. Like she has my father's temperament. My father would tell me, there's no friends in life, Jose. People will come and go out of your life. And that's how he raised me. There's no friends. Don't call nobody a friend. And now that I'm older, I realize why he said that. Somehow, some way in his life, there must have been friends that let him down. And it's true. Friends come and go. One of my great friends says his father used to tell him, friends are like dollars. They come in out of your life and they leave.
That's good.
And so I realized that Rachel's a lot like my father, like same personality. Everything's black or white. There's no gray with her. And she'll tell you straight up. She'll tell you straight up. So go ahead, share. Go ahead. No, you must share because we're here. We got to wrap this up. We got to bring this home.
That's a great saying the father said was, friends are like dollars.
Yeah.
My friend said fathers are like dollars. They come and they go.
But it's true.
It is true.
But it is true. I don't. How do we land this? How do we land this plane, Jithin?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd actually like to swing it to Jake too.
Why not? Swing it to Jake once again.
Because you're very close to your oldest, right? And you guys have definitely best friends.
Yeah.
Well, I see the way you guys interact. Like you guys are like best friends. But then you also have this balance of, I'm your father and you're my son. Like how did you navigate that? Especially now that he's in high school and going through these different changes, right? That just normal children go through, through the middle school, high school phase, trying to first find their own personal identity and then also find their identity in Christ, within all that age group or that age bracket.
Yeah. I think with Israel, he's been my day one. I've had him since, he was born. He's my baby. And we jokingly say it, but I not a day goes by where I don't ask him, "Are you my baby?" And he says, "Yeah." And I'll say, "How long?" And he'll say, "Always and forever." But he's, I think with him, he's always been so attached to me. And it's he's made it easy to be able to show him how much I love him. Not a day goes by where not a phone call ends without us saying we love each other. Not a day goes by where he doesn't hear it 10, 15 times. And then also obviously showing him. I think was easy with Israel because he is me just tinted. He's me just younger. You know, he's like another vision of
Darker shade, you meant?
Yeah, actually, somebody said that he's a brown me. That literally.
But you're brown.
See what you did there. But anyway, the older that he's gotten, the closer that we've become friends. Like Deonza asked me, literally, I think 2 days ago, is Israel your friend? Like, is he your best friend? He is. He's absolutely my best friend. Deonza is my best friend. Zion and Judah potentially could become my best friends.
Potentially?
Someday. We're not there yet.
They fill out the right
but
paperwork.
Israel is. We play basketball together.
I heard he beats you now.
I'm not even gonna address that.
That's
even with the gimp hemp.
And he's taller now.
He's not taller.
He says he's taller than you.
Pipe down. Let's relax.
He beats you now. It's okay.
He doesn't beat me.
Jalen beat me in basketball. I stopped playing with him. The moment he beat me, I stopped playing.
The day Israel will never in his life, in a real game of one-on-one basketball, Israel will never beat me, because the moment that I think that he can beat me, I won't play him anymore. I won't accept defeat. We're not. So relax.
He's here.
Relax.
He's back there watching.
Yeah.
He's taking notes.
Yeah. But also letting him know, you know, like sometimes he'll try the slick stuff, like thinking that I'm older and he can, you know, he can step up to the plate. Like just the other night. What do the kids call it? Slaps?
We don't want to go.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, there has to be go back to it, bring it back in. There has to be a balance. He is my friend. He is, you know, but he's my son. And honestly, like he makes it easy that I don't have to paint that line of boundary, because he knows. Yeah. Okay, when I'm about to take it too far, I'll stop. Yeah. You know, like that. That's Dad. What Dad says goes. There's a battle back and forth. We butt heads, but he knows that whatever I say is for the best interest of him. Yeah. And so years of establishing that, years of building that trust, years of him seeing anything that I've the discipline or anything that I've said or done always comes out in his favor. He trusts it. Yeah. So a huge part of it is trust. I thank God that I don't have a girl, and I know that God did it on purpose. Yeah. Like God knew that I could only have 3 boys, because I don't want to spend my last years of life as Paul in prison. Because if I had a daughter, it's a wrap. And so he teetered with Zion. But
well, on that note, listen, I'm glad that we're not going to be in prison. But I think that today's conversation on, fatherhood, family, and faith is something that you guys, as young people, how old are you now?
35 now.
35, and you are
37.
Okay, so you guys are very similar in age. So I could say I'm almost 10 years older than you, because I'm going to be 46 this year. Am I? Yes, I'm going to be 46. 79. Yes. So there is different challenges that you're definitely facing, and but we're going to continue praying for families and fathers, and of course for faith. So I don't know how to land this plane, because I've never done this.
I think that was it right there.
Okay, so we'll land it somehow like that.
And we're going to have to episode 2 this in the near future. Maybe add a little more football and a little less.
For sure.
A little less emotional stuff.
Boy, I think we definitely could do that.
Our text message isn't just those 3 plus football. It's also, hey Jake, you got the link to the fights.
That's the other one, fights. That's right, fights.
That is true.
That's definitely true.
You always need a good friend that has the plug.
There's a lot of F's in there.
Yeah, we just need food, fellowship,
fervent prayer,
fatherhood,
French fries. About to get some French fries. All right.